So I mean, I've received a lot of articles recently with big dramatic headlines saying SEO is dead and such like. And I think it seems like every time Google brings out an update, you get articles like that saying SEO is over, it's all finished.
Yeah.
What do you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, they seem to come out of the woodwork. So every time there is an update, and like Google have said now, you know, in their blog articles, things like that, that they are releasing updates on a monthly basis. You know, you hear of like Google Panda, Penguin updates, which has just, you know, been all the talk over the last sort of year and a half in the SEO industry. Yeah, it sends a lot of SEOs into a bit of a panic when Google releases a new update. I mean, for me and for our team here, you know, it's important that we're aware of those things, and that, you know, we always, you know, that we, you know, see what the update is. You know, we ask, do any of our websites, you know, are they at risk? Are we doing anything that, you know, could be at risk or penalised or anything like that?
Yeah, it doesn't mean SEO is dead. It just means it's changing. That's all.
Exactly. It just means it's changing. And yeah, I mean, you've got to stay on top of the game. So yeah, SEO is always changing and evolving, and you've got to, as someone who does SEO, you've got to be willing to adapt. And it can be frustrating at times because you've got to sort of relearn like your job effectively.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have to sort of constantly kind of, you've got to vet out, you've got to be careful that you're just not just constantly like, you know, getting bombarded with SEO, and there's so many different opinions in the SEO industry.
Yeah. And I think the people who write those sort of articles probably have a different definition of what SEO is.
Exactly.
And therefore they're saying it's dead. If your definition of SEO is, you know, very spammy links to your website or very spammy content on the page, and if Google then penalises you for that, then those techniques are dead effectively. But that is not what SEO means. You know, it's much broader than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally hundreds of factors which influence how a website gets ranked in the search engines, or ranked well, or factors that you know gets a website penalised. And you know, some of those ranking, you know, some of those factors there'll be some new ones that might come along. Some might get ditched by search engines. You know, we think years ago there used to be this thing called meta keywords tag, and you know that got spammed by lots of people as a means of ranking well. Years and years ago that worked, but then search engines realised people were just doing that to rank well, and it wasn't really encouraging high quality content. So you know, search engines then said, right, we're ditching the keywords tag. So you know, the same sort of happens with a couple of other factors along the way. You know, you think of the Google exact match domain update.
I think that's been a big game changer, that recent one.
Yeah.
Where Google is penalising domains which have keywords in them, and that you know, that has been a very common practice.
Yeah, so that was quite recent. That was sort of September, October time, and they said, you know, if your website has got an exact match domain name and it's low quality, like those two sort of coinciding, then you know your website is at risk.
What's something like webdesigncheltenham.co.uk, those kind of domains?
Yeah, cheap hotels, Cheltenham, yeah, anything like that, you know, where you're not really referencing your brand. I mean, Google's very sort of unclear about exactly how it goes about penalising. So on that note, you know, the announcement was the emphasis on the exact match domain combined with the low quality content.
Right.
So for me, you know, just try and see it as Google would see it. You know, Google might flag up an exact match domain as a first step, and then ask the question, well, is this a poor or high quality content website? If it's a good quality site, it's there for a genuine purpose, it's not got any sort of suspicious links or anything, then I think hopefully Google should, in theory, bypass it and it should be fine. But if they find that it's an exact match domain, poor quality, suspicious stuff going on in terms of SEO, then a website is at risk. And that particular update was one where, you know, I saw that update, and then even like within a couple of weeks of that update, I'm then picking up a magazine and seeing, you know, an article which is clearly, you know, the title is SEO is dead. And I thought, oh gosh, not again, here we go.
I actually think, you know, especially the latest update with Google, I actually think it's a positive step on Google's side. I think they're penalising poor quality websites. Which should be good for the internet, you know, and it gives a boost to genuine websites who don't practice in the unethical SEO techniques and put genuinely good, unique content out there, Google will reward you for that.
Yeah, and in the past, like Matt Cutts, who's the head of web spam at Google, you know, he actually released a video, I think in 2011, where he said, you know, Google does take into account keywords in a domain name. Yes, it's a ranking factor and can boost ranking. But he said, you know, I'm aware that a lot of websites are ranking well because of their domain name, even though the quality, you know, isn't great. And they said, you know, Google will be looking at that in future. And I think with the EMD update, you know, that day has arrived.
Yeah, I've seen websites fall off a cliff over the past month or so.
Yeah. So I think it's good. It's bringing more accountability to SEO and to how people structure their sites, and you know, it's vetting out all the quick techniques. You know,
it is the lazy techniques. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with necessarily having a keyword friendly domain name. You know, you might have your brand name, for example, might make up a keyword, and that's sort of an ongoing debate and a bit of a grey area.
Yeah.
But you know, it's putting more emphasis on quality content that yes is SEO optimized, but you know, you're thinking about how search engines understand your content, but you know, alongside that, you're also thinking about how the user understands it.
Yeah.
So you know, there's hundreds
SEO
of.
is not dead.
No, it's just changing and it's evolving. And you know, as long as an SEO expert or you know someone who does SEO, as long as they're willing to continue to adapt and evolve their techniques and keep moving alongside what the search engines are doing. The search engines are always going to need ways of understanding content, and they will always have, you know, an algorithm and a set of factors which determine how they rank sites. And provided that someone who does SEO keeps informed of that and is willing to adapt and evolve their techniques to coincide, then no, SEO will never die.